What I'd like to do today is just kind of go around the table and ask each of you to introduce yourself, tell us about your store, and kind of tell us about the story that you look to create with your store. In other words, what's that identity that you want to have that defines your store? What is your store's story, if you will? And then we'll get started a little bit about how you put together individual kinds of presentations, because that's what we're talking about today, is displays and presentations that are aimed at the end of the day, moving merchandise.
Well, I'm Marty Moran from Tags Hardware in Cambridge, Mass. And we have Tags Hardware. We sell hardware and housewares. And so our presentation to our customer is more, we have what you need. You can come to our store and pretty much outfit an apartment in a day. We don't have furniture, but other than that, we really can take care of our customer.
The store is essentially on two levels, so it has a gross leasable area of about 28,000 feet, and the upper floor is dedicated to housewares and seasonal, and of course the cash and wrap. The lower level is a traditional Ace Hardware operation. And we've created ourselves as a destination store. Everything we do, we market. In fact, on our bags it says we're at Tags for home and hardware.
My name is Dave West. My wife and I own the Rolling Pin Kitchen Emporium in Brandon, Florida. We used to be a chain, and we're the only one left now. We're in a 4,500 square foot space. We used to be in two small retail stores in the two local malls, and now we've moved out about 4 years ago into a larger space that's in a small strip center. Ours is, our tagline is we're your culinary resource. So similar to Tag, we have everything, but ours is more specific, especially to the kitchen.
I'm Barbara Freeman, Kitchenware Outfitters in Savannah, Georgia, and a lot of what you've been hearing so far is kind of the philosophy behind which we opened our store. We wanted to be a destination also. We like to always joke about Norm from Cheers. And we wanted people, when they walked into our store, we would then say to them, Norm or Susie or whatever. And some of us are better at remembering customer names than others. But I always cheat. I can look at the credit card and say, oh, hi, how are you? But, for us to be able to educate our customers in the proper use of products, try to understand what it is they're trying to gain, and then educate them on which products are going to fulfill the need that they're describing to us that they have. We feel like that's something that we can provide the customer that they're not going to get in a big box or in a department store.
Hi, I'm Karen Abrams from Foxfire Gallery and Kitchen Shops. That's a long name, and it started out as a handcrafted store that was functional and had a smattering of kitchen when I bought it 15 years ago. We grew the kitchen area because that's where the business was driving, and eventually added on a kitchen downstairs where we do classes. We carry everything from jewelry to pots and pans and utensils, and so it's quite a lot of categories for us.
Hi, I'm Nicole Carrillo with Kitchens on the Square in Savannah, Georgia, and we have a completely different. We are not your mother's kitchen store. We're a kitchen store with no pots and pans.
I'm Mark Daving, and my wife and I, Martha and I, own the Extra Ingredient. We opened 25 years ago. I think basically because we like to cook and we like to entertain, and we wanted to go into business for ourselves. And when we first went into business, we really felt that it was important to be a complete gourmet store. So we used to put that as our tagline. We are a complete gourmet kitchen store. And at that time, it was relatively new, and I think we established ourselves as that. Lately, I think that we're shifting. We feel a tremendous shift in what's going on in our environment. Now we are Greensboro's local kitchen store.
And I'm Art's wife, Martha Nading, and as Art says, we've been in this for 25 years. Sometimes it feels like we just started yesterday. It's been a long ride, and it's different. I think it's a whole different world right now. We deal with large competition, and we are trying to be the local folks on the block. And that has paid off for us in all these 25 years.
When we talk about storytelling through merchandise, there's a lot of different ways to tell a story. And a monstrous cutlery assortment is a story. A 96-foot gadget wall is a story. If I can play with that metaphor a little bit, all of those little vignettes that you have within that gadget assortment are kind of the chapters of that story. When you start to put that together, there are some critical elements anytime in your store that you absolutely have to have. And what I'd like to do is just kind of quickly go around the table and get from you kind of a list of what are those critical elements that those categories of product that you absolutely feel are critical to defining who you are as a store.
Well, I think the way our store is set up is in stories. As you walk in the door, when you first walk in, is the cookware. We felt that was important because it's a statement. People immediately know, oh, I'm in a place that has to do with the kitchen. As you move along, I think the next story is our gadget story to the right, then a bar story, and they are separated in these are separated. They're actually like little shops. They're very separated. In fact, once you go in there, the shelving blocks your view from the rest of the store. So
Almost like a little alcove area,
Right.
I suppose. That one is cookware, one is bakeware, one is cutlery. Several are tabletop at this point. One is barware. And we
Clothware.
try to be organized, although many times there's things that overlap from story to story and from alcove to alcove. But that's helped us to set up and to be organized and to help guide our customers.
Everything in our store is fun, different, off the beaten path. That's our whole story. I have hundreds of stories all over the store. I have penny candy gadgets, which just looks like an old-time candy shop. And what those are the $1, $2, and $3 kitchen items. So that's a story. I have a breakfast story. We put all the breakfast items together. So instead of having, the egg poachers with the egg poachers are with the Eggo plates and with the Happy Spoons. Shout out to the Zach, there you are, with the Happy Spoons, make you happy for breakfast. In the bacon press, and so I cross merchandise like a crazy person, which drives everybody else crazy because they can't find things sometimes, but it makes sense to the customer. So I'd rather have the employees, have to work a little bit harder, but make it a fun story that, bacon press onto a poacher, onto a this.
We have 2 floors, and so we have to divide it, and we put most of the kitchenware downstairs on the tabletop. We bring some kitchenware upstairs occasionally. It has worked well because now we've trained our customer where to go. They see the categories. They know that the coffee is upstairs, that we sell, the gourmet foods are upstairs, that draw for spontaneous buying. We have that candy canyon near the register that has all types of little gadgets that people pick up. And then downstairs we have our cookware sections, our cutlery. We are divided into all of those, into the regular categories.
I feel like for us, cookware is our biggest category, strongest category, followed by cutlery. And maybe not as a result of that, but maybe this led to that. When you come to our front door, you've got to pass by 3 very, very large windows. And so we've merchandised our Le Creuset right in those windows. It's been there now for 3 years, and one would think we need to move things around, but the color captures people, and it's cookware, and it defines who we are, being cookware. And so, you capture the person's eye as they walk by those 3 windows, and as soon as they walk in, there's all the Le Creuset, and it's followed by Viking and All Clad and the half a dozen or more other cookware manufacturers that we carry.
For us, because we have a cooking school of 1,000 square feet, it's all about, it's the thing you see when you walk in the door, it's all about the culinary center. And so we built the store and designed it around that, and around the premise that all of the things that we've been talking about are things that you use in that space at your home, however big it is. That's where you're going to use all of those things. And so especially with the culinary center being about 25% of all sales, it is a very profitable, and trust me, Karen figures out exactly how many dollars per square foot I am generating. and the profit associated with that too on a regular basis. And so then once we got that was where people were focused, then it became just an easy thing to figure, just as you said, from a profitability perspective, as well as from sheer numbers. Food is our number one category, above and beyond cookware.
I would say plungers and keys.
I'm writing that down.
Anybody that has moved into an old apartment immediately knows that the previous tenant has clogged up all the sinks, so need a plunger. And
great.
keys are important because the apartments are old, and many times we're dealing with third, fourth, or fifth generation keys, so they don't always work, so you immediately have a repeat customer. And the fact that this is on our lower level, it means it drags you through the housewares department or exposes you to the housewares department. And then seasonally, I would say canning has become a major category. And the reason for that is that everybody has given up on canning. Supermarkets no longer carry it. It's a minimal margin for them, and it has a lot of breakage. And we bring in pallets and pallets. I think on a every month basis, we're bringing in pallets of jars and all the accessories, and we fill those in from our warehouse in between. So that's the destination factor, right?
I would say gadgets. I'm the accounting person, and so I can look at the 70 different departments that we have in the store, and gadgets is number 2. And it's one of those things where people can come in and just pick themselves up in terms of buying something that's not terribly expensive, but interesting and fun, and so it's been wonderfully successful for us. Our store is set up so that there are different bays in the housewares area. We have small electrics, cookware, bakeware, gadgets, food storage, tabletop, barware, cutlery. And what's really important for us, even when we have these different areas, we want to move things around because people see them in a different way, and if we can highlight something, it really does increase sales. This January, we brought in a merchandising person who does fabulous displays, and our houseware sales are up 11%, and in a tough economy, that's really saying something, I think.
I'd like to talk a little bit about how you make the decisions when you create these dominant categories. I mean, for lack of a better word, I'll call it the Goldilocks challenge. How much is too much? How much is too little? How much is just right? So,
Well, I feel that someone said it earlier, good, better, best. So let's take a category, maybe gadgets, which is one of our dominant categories like everyone else. That's a good model for me. I feel like the Goldilocks challenge there is that if we have more than good, better, best, we get confusing. So if we have a lot of best or a lot of good, then the customer really doesn't know where to turn. So with that garlic press, if we have too much choice there, it's very confusing. But a customer can usually zone in on whether they want to be more what I consider popularly priced items as opposed to cheap. I would say that, but we want to make sure that they work. I love that question when people turn to me, does this really work? I do try to make sure that they ask that all the time. I make sure that they do work, but I think something that is popularly priced, something that I consider to be an extremely good value, but maybe not the most popularly priced item. And then I like to have over-the-top items. I think that that customer has not been out there like they used to be, but we still have a few customers who want that over the top. So that's a good sort of selection process in whatever category.
I think another thing we do is we try to listen to our comrades in the business, for one thing. We share knowledge and we say what's working for you, maybe it'll work for me. And then we also listen to our customers. There was a day when we did not sell Hinkle knives, and we constantly turned people away and sent them to the department store across the parking lot. And then one day we knocked ourselves in the head and said, why are we doing this? And we started selling Hinkle knives. So we listened to the customer and listened to what they were asking for. So I think those are two things that help us when we make our decisions about each category and how broad it's going to be.
What I like to do is focus in on add-on sales, pickup items that are easy, helpful, useful, that a customer will, like I showed you, the penny candy gadgets, and we have lots of, and I'm moving into more and more of that with chopsticks, like 2 for $1, like these little add-on things, the chicken frills, instead of selling them in a whole package, selling those 2 for $1, things we're trying to focus in on just making a higher average sale.
I subscribe to the good, better, best philosophy as well, have always done that. I like to offer a variety of a category that is good for the customer. First, it has to have the best function, that it does work, so that you can recommend it to your customer, and that I or my staff use it in our homes. I think that's a very important added thing to the customer, that's value to the customer too. So I look for those as well, and I don't want to have too many of one item either. It confuses the customer. I try very hard not to buy things that are a knockoff as well, because I think always the original has done well, and usually, and a lot of times too, some things will just run for a period of time, and they won't make a run for years and years and years, and then you have those that you have to have all the time as well. But good, better, best has always worked for me.
We're kind of the same philosophy with the good, better, best, but you also have to temper that with what does the customer need to have a complete, happy experience at home. Cutting boards is a good example. We've got lots of different cutting boards from different manufacturers, made out of different products. We've got the plastic cutting boards, the floppy ones, the John Boo's solid oak ones, bamboo. But when the customer comes in wanting a cutting board, first of all, or a knife, start out with a knife. If they buy a knife, don't let them go home unless without a board, unless you know for sure they've got the right board at home to use that knife on, because if they use it on their granite countertop, they're going to ruin their knife. If they buy a board from you, don't let them go home without oil, because the board's going to crack and split if they don't have the oil to take care of the board. And so, in filling out your cutting board selection, to make that category complete, think about all of those items that are necessary so that when they do take that board home, it's going to last, it's going to perform, and they're going to be happy with it. So yes, there's a good, better, best that you have to consider, but you also have to, in adding on to that sale, have all of those accessory things to make the sale work perfectly in the long run for the customer.
The other thing we have to look at is, and we talk about this a lot, what do we have to have, even if it only sells one a year, to be able to call ourselves a fully rounded kitchen shop? A bird's nest press. I mean, how many of those are you going to sell in a year? We sell about 2 a year. Most people have no idea what the thing is. But that one person, that one Asian lady that comes walking in looking for a bird's nest press and is blown away when we say, yes, we have that, and we go get it. So that and, a spiral cutter, weird things that some people are going to want, and so we keep a minimum amount of
Yeah,
that.
you don't invest a lot of inventory dollars, but you've got to have some dollars associated with the one a year that you're going to sell.
Agreed. I have a couple comments about good, better, and best before we beat that to death, I guess. We're a strong believer in good, better, and best. I think one of the things that Art was talking about over there is when you get too many of either good, better, or best in there, it not only just confuses customers, it confuses the staff. The staff have to be able to tell the difference between each good, better, and best. So when they talk to the customer, they can say, this is why you should buy this one. This is the difference between each of those. And that's the biggest challenge, because most customers will buy whatever the employee that you have there will talk. They'll say, well, which do you own? Oh, I have this one. Well, why do you have that one? Because it has this. And before you know it, they're looking for somebody that will say, just push them over the edge to buy it. So it's for us, the good, better, and best is about being able to have our staff be able to talk about it. And when you have 5 items that all have almost the same characteristics, they can't describe it. And of course, if they can't describe it, the customer won't buy it. The other thing that I like about what Barbara was talking about, when you've got a good, better, and best in, let's say, knives, and then those complementary items, you don't have to do good, better, and best on the complementary items. You don't need 4 different kinds of wood oil. You know, bamboo and food-grade mineral oil is all you need. You don't have to have good, better, and best. You don't have to. All you have to have is good stock of it. You don't have to have a whole line of them. So when we think about those, and when Karen does buying, she really thinks about, geez, is this something that we specifically have? If we have it and it's what you need, don't go buy 5 different brands of it. It just doesn't make any good sense for it.
Well, we use a lot of popularity codes in terms of looking at our different categories and seeing what are our A items, our B items, C items. And so we feel that it's really important to have some breadth, but also we think of housewares as a fashion forward area we have to keep on top of. And so we try to go to a lot of shows and look at different products, and as we look at the popularity codes, we can see what we want to push the envelope with in terms of bringing in new products and broadening it. And we've put a lot of money into cookware and small electrics. Those certainly are areas that our customer comes and looks. We know that a lot of our customers say, you know, I just wanted to stop in and see what's new. And I think that's really, really important for us.
So we kind of watch what the customers deal, and what we try to do is using the word destination, which I guess is overused, but I kind of over-assort because when a customer walks in, I want them to know that they can depend on getting what they need, whether it be on price or be on feature or what they've seen in a home shelter magazine or something like that. And then training our staff to listen to the customer, to lead them in the direction of the proper purchase so that they don't overbuy, they don't underbuy. Now, we know that we just stack out $9.99 toasters and that kind of thing come September, but we know that's because a student population just wants a toast piece of bread or make a cup of coffee. But then, you know, hearing the consumer come in who wants more, and then they depend on the staff member, as Dave has mentioned, is to lead them into the proper purchase. So that's where we go.
I'd like to talk for a minute, if we can segue. We've talked a lot about and heard the term vignettes come out and talk about kind of cross-merchandising themes. And over time, there's popular trends, styles, things that wax and wane. Asian cooking is popular one year, the next year it's Thai or Italian. And I just want to kind of go around and get a sense of what are, right now, what are some of the real key popular trend or vignette statements that you're making in your stores that you think are important to have there, and how are you executing them? Karen, we're going to start with you since we've always started up at this end of the table.
As far as vignettes and trying to put things together, we do a lot of bridal business, so we try to build a bridal trend, you know, of what the brides are doing and what they need for their kitchens, because they come in there and they don't have a clue. Sometimes their mothers or sometimes an older sister or somebody might try to help them as well. But we try to educate them of what they'll need and start off with the better products or the mid-price products that will serve them for many, many years.
My hot vignette right now is Shake It Up Baby. It's salt and pepper shakers. Those, seriously, and I don't want to give away all my secrets, but there's some fabulous vendors right here, right now, that we're selling tons and tons and tons of salt and pepper shakers. Again, it's like an easy, we talked earlier, I think that kitchen stores for the most part are recession proof. Now just hear me out, everybody. I know you're gonna be like, what? But really, when you go to the store, you can justify buying this because you're gonna use it to make something for your family. And same thing with like those dopey little salt and pepper shakers, you know, it's fun, it's whimsical, but it's useful. And for the majority of products that, you know, we all sell, minus probably a few things I sell that are not necessary at all, our customers can justify. And the trend definitely right now is, watching your money, watching your dollars. And so following that trend, like I told you before, I move into the pickup add-on, little, just increasing the sale penny by penny. Pennies equal dollars,
Well, I think looking at what's happening in our world, things to me come out of just what's going on in the news and what's on people's minds. What comes to mind immediately to me is the Going Green movement, which I know has been abused somewhat. But I think about Martha and I have really expanded into categories because of this. And a lot of our displays and merchandising reflects this interest of our customer. One in particular is the shopping bag. The idea that people can shop now without asking for bags in stores and saving a tree. I mean, we offer a Bring a Bag, Feed a Family campaign in our store where if someone brings their own bag, we put 10 cents in a jar for our urban food bank. But we also have developed this going green attitude with our displays and focusing that customer so when they come in they feel that we are conscious of this, and that would be one theme right now that's come out. Also saving money themes, I think that's another thing that's very important, and what helps displays for us is to be able to make it very simple for a customer to understand, oh, I can do this, I can make this soup. And so we try to create a soup, whatever, but it's maybe appealing to that customer with the idea of I can do this, and 1, 2, 3, it's simple. They can catch it quickly from a display and feel like that they are not needing to go out to eat as much or whatever.
And to be really specific, if you walked in our store today, it's summer in the South. So you're going to see a vignette about grilling. You're going to see a vignette with BPA-free glasses. You're going to see eating outside. You're going to see casual picnicking kind of things. You're going to see bags that go to the beach or go to the music for a Sunday evening that we have in our area. So, we try to, as seasonally, as Nicole said, we have to think, what are our customers doing right now that we need to have right in their faces in our vignettes.
Our vignette right now is a product I said is dumb. It's never going to sell. But if you want to do it, go ahead and do it. And our poor rebuyer, we get pallets every 10 days. She can't figure out what the end is going to be, and it is
Soda Stream.
Soda Stream, yeah. Soda Stream.
Yeah. The other vignette that we have been working for about 3 months that has been very powerful for us is outdoor and patio. We sell grills, and so with the grills, we sell the gadgets that go with them. We sell aprons. When I'm buying, I think about the patio furniture with the tables and chairs that we're going to be selling, and then I'll put together an April Cornell tablecloth, and then I'll have dishes that will go with that, and glasses and candles, and so we try to think ahead about what the colorways are so that we can put together displays so that when our customer comes in, we're showing them what they need to buy. So we're putting it together for them, and they just need to spend the money.
We've tried to define the difference between trend and trendy. We've all been talking about that everybody's budget conscious. Holiday things, things with Santas on them don't go right now. People aren't going to buy stuff, but they'll buy stuff that's red and green and white, and so you can tell the story with. I see the spatulas over there, and Nikki and I were talking about this. Is your partner's name Nikki? Yeah, it was this morning. We're talking about that you can just take orange things and black things and white things and put them together, and all of a sudden with a something that you bought at the dime store, a picture, and you've got Halloween, but you didn't have to invest in any product that was Halloween oriented. And so that translates to the customer too, that they can at their home do something that is now a little holiday, that specific holiday oriented, but I don't have to spend money on something that is, by the way, going to be put in the basement or in the south, in the attic or in the garage for 11 months and I won't use it. So that to us is less trendy and more trend oriented. And so one of the challenges is you have to understand that all the displays have to be shoppable. A customer wants to buy it, they see it, they don't want to have the employee goes, yeah, it's on the other side of the store. You know, they have to be shoppable right there. They've got to be able to take what's in the display, and of course, that gives your staff a coronary that they took the only red napkin out of the display, and so it has to be shoppable. I think one of the biggest trends is also, and I think I heard it was either Art or Martha started talking about it, and that's where things come from. People are not necessarily from a food perspective worried so much about organic these days or the green the green movement as much because, like you said, it's been used and it's not well defined. But they are starting to start wanting to know where food comes from, where the product comes from, and so they're very leery about those. And so when we're talking about displays, there's a great opportunity, at least for us, that we put "Made in the USA," "Made in Kansas," "Made in Arkansas," "Comes from Georgia." I mean, those are, it doesn't matter whether it's any better or not. It just, that makes people feel better when they know where it comes from. So I think that is a trend that right now is important for us, is where things come from, and if you can merchandise those, and a lot of the vendors have stepped up and done that too, it really helps those.
We don't have as much space for vignette creation as I wish we did. But where we are able to create vignettes, most of them are focused on the season. Mother's Day, we have a great vignette. Father's Day, we'll pull together all those things for Father's Day. Right now, as Martha was saying, it's summertime in the South. We've got, lots of grilling things on display around the store, showing people what goes together. We actually have a big grilling day where we have Weber grills out in our courtyard in front of the store, and it turns into a huge event. So, no matter what holiday you can think of, that's pretty much the focus of most of our vignettes. And, lots of cross-merchandising, which the staff hates with cycle counting because they can't find everything. But, that with our limited space for vignettes, that's kind of the way we have to focus it on the holidays. And I've got a couple of really good vendors that have lots of color, that I have to order early on for holidays and fall and things of that nature. So back in February, April timeframe, I was ordering for fall and Christmas this year, and in doing that, then I can kind of pick up on a color theme and or a cooking theme and use that in all my buying from that point to now, buying this weekend, and help develop a good fall and winter grouping of products, based on that early buy with those companies, and just carry it all the way forward. And that's going to help create the vignettes that we have in the fall and for Christmas.
There's a lot of seasonality in what you were just talking about, and I'd like to just kind of get a sense of how you deal with in the store from an inventory standpoint, from where it goes, how do I move it in, how do I move it out, where do I put it, how do you deal with those kind of seasonal displays that kind of expand and contract as the season goes on? Or why don't we just go right back and start with you over there, since...
I like it. I love having seasonal displays. It really, it seems to give the store, it gives the store a new air. So for me,
How do you manage the space, bringing stuff, in other words...
Well, we squish it in. We squish it in. Le Creuset, I hate to keep using that. Le Creuset is a good example because they're all about color. And, you can go with their new Dijon. Well, it was not new, but it's a couple of years old now. But you can go to their Dijon, and we tend to color block a lot of times. Sometimes we mix and match, but we do tend to color block. And look at the yellow, and then all of a sudden all your now arrives that's all the fall colors, and they're browns and golds and oranges, and just throw all that fabric in there, and it's, that's the squish in part. You can just really cross merchandise beautifully and just move it all together. So it just gives it's like breathing fresh air when a new season comes along that has lots of color associated with it.
And when it's all done, you just squeeze it out?
When it's all done, it goes on the sale rack, and hopefully it's gone in a few days. But we struggle with seasonal products. You were talking about not buying things that have a skeleton face on it, or don't buy Santa stuff. Customers, either they don't want those things or they want to get it on sale.
Exactly.
And, when we first opened our store 6 years ago, we bought lots of Christmas things, Christmas cookie jars, whatever. And the first year it was okay, and then the next year I bought probably as much, maybe a little bit less, and more of it ended up on the sale table, and more and more. And now, I buy so little of the holiday specific. This year for Halloween, I bought one set of towels. I've got 12 Halloween towels coming in. That's it. Because it ends up on the sale table. So I just won't buy it anymore. I like your idea, using just color of the season rather than season specific.
I stole it from her.
Oh, good. See, we share.
There you go. That's the whole point.
Yes.
If it's displayed well, it will sell well, and so she has a good knack of that. But that also means you better have a place to put these displayers. One of the things that I think that sometimes happens with small businesses is we get these displayers, and for the holiday season, for example, we stuff it in, we find a place, and that's okay because consumers expect there to be lots. But then what happens is we forget that as we get into the summer months and we're a little leaner, that you actually have to get rid of some of those displayers because it makes your store look empty. The challenge you always have with the gadget wall is you got to spread some stuff out during the rest of the, when you're in the lower volume months. And so our garage, I don't know that we've ever had a car in the garage because we have every now designed displayer, because of the ones that are portable. We've over time we've learned, and I think the vendors have learned too, the more portable it is, if it's on wheels, like Nikki was saying, so that you can find the best spot for this, the better. We look for displayers that will merchandise that product well as maybe complementary items, even though, a vendor would have a coronary to let you know that they actually put something on their displayer that wasn't, their product. But the reality is that's how we use them in the store. It has to be something that's movable. Because it may not live in the store long. It might be one of those things that we pull back in and out.
The planning, we know what our footprint is, and our biggest bulge, of course, is for back to school, which is middle of August through September, early October. And so we start in March and working out, we know the space that we'll use and calculate what we'll need to satisfy the market. And then I tell receiving, by the way, you've got 7 pallets of dinnerware coming in, and you'll find a place to put it. So I think that, and as far as Marty is extremely cautious on what we spend, I'm not. And so usually we can liquidate it through to the end of the season and really come down to being clean. And most of the stuff we buy becomes basic stock anyway, so then it moves into the department.
Yes, my office has a lot of boxes in it in July, and we just find every space that we can to put things because we bring in an amazing amount of product. That, I think, is our biggest challenge.
In the summertime, twice, once in June and once at Labor Day, we have a sidewalk sale. And that allows us 2 opportunities to unload the stuff that will not sell, the stuff we should not have bought, all kinds of things. So that allows us to have some space. And then we do, I think, a nice business setting up a little bit of Halloween and a Thanksgiving and a big Christmas area. We have Christmas foods, we have Christmas items, we do some back to school. So that means we have to do a lot of shifting and moving. And you all know, you can be guaranteed if you take one section down and put everything in the floor, then your customer comes in and wants it.
Exactly.
Always. And so sometimes that's really a good thing. But we also pack up out of season things and put those in a warehouse, which might be our garage, and take that off the floor, completely off the floor when it's out of season. And then December 21st, if we've got empty shelves, it comes back out.
Yeah, we've done that.
So we've had to do that because we have limited space. 3,600 feet is not a lot of space to just stick in a whole new vignette. So those are some of the things we do to try to squish it in there.
Well, a couple of additional things. I think in tabletop, which we do have expanded into it, you do have to do seasonal merchandise. And we have some very high-end Christmas-themed things, which rarely go on sale, believe it or not, rarely. It's a tricky way to buy, but I think those draw the customer in. There are things that people will not find everywhere. They're usually protected lines, and they're collectibles, as far as tabletop. So that's just one comment on that. Another thing too, we have to be very careful with our displays. I'll pick out Valentine's. It's probably one of my pet peeves, but we'll create a Valentine's display, for instance, which is red, and maybe we'll try to focus it on breakfast, which we need to focus. If we don't focus, for some reason my employees and everyone wants everything that has to do with the season to put it on that display, which completely confuses the customer. I mean, every Valentine cookie cutter, heart apron, heart waffler, heart, and that drives me crazy. So I think that's one of the problems with seasonal displays, is that you have to really focus those displays. You've got to make sure that not everything that has to do with Thanksgiving is here. Otherwise, it looks like crap, and I think that's really important.
I got so many good ideas listening this whole time. First of all, as a small store, we try to be very, very careful from the beginning, and I'm super conservative on the things that I buy. Like when we're out here, I'll be like, 2, I want 2, not 3, not 4, just 2, just to see how it works and see how it goes. Because we, frankly, have no room. Like, you know what I'm talking about. There is not a spot on the floor for one more thing, which we have no business being here buying new things anyhow. And I'm very careful about making the most use out of every inch. And I mean, we're up on the walls, we're hanging from the ceilings, we've gone everywhere. And I don't think I'm disagreeing, but like when I'll do a seasonal display to maximize the space, I'll cross merchandise tabletop with whisks and spoons and napkins and towels and every kind of everything to take those off the floor somewhere else to make more room for something else. Like in Thanksgiving, we'll have the turkey platters and the turkey tabletop and the salt and peppers and the lacers and the gravy separators, and so it encourages the impulse, like, oh, I need lacers, I need this. And then, trash picking is like one of my favorite hobbies. And I have so many fabulous displays when we talked about repurposing and reusing fixtures. Like, so from the vendors, paint it, change it. If you can add S-hooks to it to, hang, I don't even know, like pot holders from it down one side and, whatever else you need on the other side. We should have I'd say that everybody works there should put that they're an engineer when they leave Kitchens on the Square, because we've repurposed, redesigned, reworked all kinds of stuff to be cost effective and promote sales.
We do a lot of seasonal as well. Seasonal helps build excitement in the store. It gets the customer thinking of what they can do for the season, including what they're going to cook. We want them to think about those things as well. So we do Halloween and we do Thanksgiving, and Christmas is huge. And we do Christmas across the board, tabletop, food, all the gifts, et cetera, and try to build on that. And we did the same thing that Art and Martha do as far as Christmas at the end of the season. At day after Christmas, it goes on sale 50%. They're lined up out the door, 50 people waiting to get in, and we very rarely lose any money. Christmas became a huge category for us because no one in our area carried it, and we carry everything from ornaments to to floral, to garlands, etc. And people buy it. We build Christmas kitchen ornaments, and so that people see how they can do it in their home, and they put cutlery with it. They put it on their packages, etc. So seasonal has always been big, and we insert it and stuff it just like you do into the displays and into the vignettes as we go along. Fall, my staff already said right now how much fall is coming and when will it be here. They're already looking towards August and getting that out. It perks up what is already there and makes things look fresh.